Wow, hello, and welcome to another Havoc Sons video. Harbor Freight. I bought one of these a long time ago, probably 10 years ago. I cut a 70-foot pine tree that succumbed to bark beetles, which with this, well, I don't think they called it Portland. I don't have it anymore. Just a couple days ago, I threw it away. And like pretty much everything from Harbor Freight, at least at the low end, you can only have it so long and it eventually will wear out and die. Right in here, if you open it up, there is a gear that turns this chain. That gear was made out of plastic. Yeah. I mean, come on. How much more would it have cost to make it out of metal? Because eventually, well, there was a lot of things that were wrong with that chainsaw. I think the oil pump quit on it and I had to repair that. Something else quit on it, I don't remember. I had to open it up 2 or 3 times. Oh, the trigger! The trigger broke. So I had to replace that. This trigger right here, plastic piece right in here. Seriously, Harbor Freight, they get the Chinese involved at their factories to produce nothing but plastic parts. And unfortunately, the plastic that they use is pretty bad. And in time, it eventually, the plastic becomes very brittle. So, but look, let me explain something to you briefly. Of course, this is the Portland chainsaw. Now, granted, when my pine tree was like 60, 70 foot, it succumbed to bark beetles. They wanted $450 to cut it down and cut it up into firewood. So I bought me one of these. Like I said, this was probably about, I don't know, 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. Could have been longer. Don't really remember. That purchase, I think I paid $37 for it. 20% coupon, which, by the way, Harbor Freight doesn't show 20% coupons anymore. I've been looking. I could only find a 10% on this one. This was $47, and it was $10 off, or 10% off, I'm sorry. So, anyway, the long and short of it is, I was able to cut that pine tree up into little itty-bitty pieces. It took me like 3 or 4 days, and I went through one chain. But it was a far cry cheaper than $450. So, now I could tell by this is lifting it up. This is a little heavier, but it pretty much looks like the same design. The oil tank here that keeps the chain lubed, the way you can see it on this glass here, it's pretty much the same. But yeah, this definitely feels heavier. I still kept my guard, my chain guard. You know, why don't I go get it? Hang on one sec. So the bottom line is, don't expect these chainsaws to last forever. Because the plastic parts that they use in them, just the age on the plastic, they start to turn brittle. And the gear wheel, it was about, I don't know, about that size around, probably actually about the size of this. right in here. And it was plastic. And that gear is what pushes this. And where it connected to the gear, the other gear that drove this sprocket, and this piece is made out of plastic with a bunch of teeth in it. And eventually the teeth just corroded away, brittled. Plastic became brittle. It didn't wear out. The plastic basically, what's the word? It's like you left something in the sun all day, every day for 5 years. The plastic just became so brittle, it just started falling apart in my hand. So, have they upgraded? I would think not. At least not this part. It is the same size. The reason why I kept this is a brand new chain. I just bought this chain and it hasn't yet worn out. But I remember the original chain on this lasted quite some time. So I can use this chain when this one wears out. That's nice. So what do I see different? And excuse me if I'm not in the video head or whatever. I didn't really check, and these videos are not about me. You don't want to seriously. You don't want to be looking at what's here. I did not age well, but I'm still having fun, so that's all that matters. Pretty much the owner's manual. Make sure you hang on to these, read it, study it, like I just did. Well, this is new. I didn't get one of these before. I don't even know. I don't recall. It was so long ago. I might have gotten this, but I don't think so. I know what this is for. That's the gear that holds that in place. But look at this. This is bar and chain oil. And you know what's funny? This is much lighter than the bar and chain oil that I bought at O'Reilly's. Go figure. But I bet they get a lot of people sending them back within the 90 days because there's a 90-day warranty on this because they didn't put any oil in it. So you want to make sure that you oil her up. Okay, well, right away, I can tell. And that's funny. That's something to say about the plastic. Whoa! Okay, boy, they're cheap. They give you half a tank of oil. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to turn it over. But within a year, I lost the ability to... well, that feels like it's cross-threading. There we go. Within a year, I lost the ability to see that glass. But as you can see, the plastic's clean and pristine, so you can see it, which is nice. So it comes with an oil bottle, which I know it didn't come with last time. It may have come with this. Oh, I know what this is for. And it may have come with this. This right here, boy, I'm getting oil all over everything. This goes right in here. What it does is it adjusts the chain, but it looks like it's already pre-adjusted. So, quick unboxing. Look, I don't get into the specifics of all this stuff. I just did this because I want you to know that I bought one of these, almost identical, as you can see from this, probably 6 to 10 years ago. 5 to 10 years ago. I know that's quite a window, but I don't recall when I actually got it. I do know that they wanted $450 to cut down my 70-foot pine tree that succumbed to bark beetles during our drought. And within 3 days, I cut it down and cut it into bite-sized pieces of firewood that I could put in my little fire pit. And I did it with a saw. It was almost identical to this, except it was brown. I don't think it was a Portland, but it almost had the same identical shape. I don't think the motor was as long. So I think this is a little longer motor, but I definitely can tell this is heavier. So who knows? They might have put a metal piece in that gear, but I'm not going to open it up to see. So what are the specs? Yeah, here they are. Okay. It is safety lockout switch, which, you press that to get it to turn on. It's got an 8 amp motor. Well, that's interesting. I believe mine was 6 amp. So it is a bigger motor. It has an automatic oiler, which mine did too. Wraparound handguard, mine had that too. And 14-inch bar and chain, which mine had that also. So the increase the size of the motor. And the motor is 120 volts, 60 hertz, 9 amps. And it is 14-inch cutting blade. So that's it. This is my quick video on the Portland 14-inch electric chainsaw, pretty much identical to my original chainsaw that I bought years ago. But like I said, right in here, right in this area, there's a wheel, like I said, about the shape of this, and it's got teeth in it, and it's made of plastic. The first time I took this apart is because the trigger broke. So I took it off, and when I took it off, I looked at that wheel, that gear drive, and I knew then, this isn't going to last. And it didn't, it's funny, the teeth didn't break because I was cutting it too hard, because I cut into probably a 4-inch wide trunk. The plastic disintegrated after years. So these chainsaws, use them for, I use mine five, let's just average it out, 7 years. It broke twice on me. Trigger, had to epoxy the trigger, and the oil pump. The hose on the oil pump, the actual hose expanded so much it started leaking like a sieve. So the material that they use, pretty cheap. The hose, whatever it was made of, the oil made that plastic hose expand, and it popped off and started leaking all over, and it stopped oiling the chain, and it ruined the chain. So I had to replace the hose, and then I crimped it in, and I replaced the chain. I epoxied the trigger, and then the last time it broke was that gear, and there was no way I could fix that. The motor was still working fine. So anyway, there's a quick look at the Portland 14-inch electric chainsaw. Here's my take on them. They're fly-by-night. Use it to do a job. It's going to be cheaper than if you hire somebody. Take care of it. Don't cut too hard on it. But even in time, the plastic starts to disintegrate. So you get maybe 5 to 7 years out of it before it falls apart. But this one feels a little heavier. So maybe that gear is no longer plastic. I don't think so, though. So buyer beware. Harbor Freight. I mean, where can you get a chainsaw for under $50? But then don't expect it to last forever. Like always, thank you for watching. Have a great day and a better life. And remember, do more of what makes you happy. See ya.